Conversations from HR Tech, Part 1, next on the HRtech Podcast.
Welcome to HRtech, the podcast where recruiting and technology intersect. Each month, you'll hear from vendors shaping the recruiting world, along with recruiters who'll tell you how they use technology to hire talent. Now, here's your host, the mad scientist of online recruiting, Chris Russell.
That's right, it's HRtech, the only podcast that helps employers and recruiters connect with more candidates through technology-inspired conversations. Today's show is a special event edition, continuing our coverage of the annual HR Technology Conference from Las Vegas. First, the HRtech Podcast is sponsored by our friends at WorkHere. WorkHere connects your business with local people who want to work for you. They offer a hyper-local candidate delivery system, pretty unique in the market. That means they use advanced advertising techniques like geofencing to target interested workers in any location you can think of. Head over to workhere.com to learn more and tell them you heard it on HRtech. We're also sponsored by our friends at HRtool, the recruiter's best friend. Looking for a great sourcing tool to give to your team? Well, HRtool's recruiting toolbox is easy to use. It'll help you hire faster, no Boolean required. Check them out at HRtool.com. All right, in today's show, you're going to hear 6 short conversations I had from the Expo Hall floor at HRtech. This is part 1. You'll get part 2 next week. And in this episode, you're going to hear from Andrew Gadomski, who I've met for the first time, HR tech analyst who runs his own firm. Aman Brar from Canvas. Brendan Cruikshank from Emissary.ai. Jack Copeman from Great People. Love their t-shirt they got. Tim Hawk and Amit Chauhan from Job Addicts. And finally, Ninh Tran from HRtool. So those will round out the show today. Enjoy the audio. Here with Andrew Gadomski. Andrew, what is your company, by the way? I don't know.
It's Aspen Analytics.
Aspen Analytics. So you're out in New Jersey.
That's right.
We know each other online for many years.
That's right.
Got to meet in real life here. So we're sitting on the HR Tech floor in the Expo Hall. What's the theme this year?
I think what we're seeing here is because data has become so easy to move around, whether it's API or cloud solutions, we're seeing a broadening of a lot of these players. So you know, as an example, CareerBuilder would have never have been in the automated sourcing all the way through. They now do onboarding. You know, I mean, so that's an example, right? So everyone seems to be broadening their space.
They want to be that one-size-fits-all.
A little bit more one-size-fits-all. I'm seeing a lot more language around, we can integrate with those guys. We can integrate with those guys. So there's clearly a lot of foothold grabbing, if that's such a thing, in the market right now. And then the other thing I'm seeing is the ability to buy data. So there's companies here, whether it's Paychex, Mercer, PayScale, etc., where they've just got a lot of data, and they're trying to monetize subscriptions so you can make better decisions. So I'm seeing a broadening, and I'm seeing a commercialization of insights. That's what I'm seeing.
Interesting. I see a lot of diversity coming out now with these different
D&I
products.
It continues to be a growing thing, and I think we're seeing the move where D&I also is breaking into, and I'm not seeing as much of it on the floor as I would like. And I want to dig in with some of these vendors, but I'm like, well, what are you guys doing around ability more than anything else? You guys can go ahead and identify protected classes and race and ethnicity. I said, but what about ability? Americans with disabilities, as an example, a huge untapped market. What are you doing? What are you doing for identifying and then onboarding people and helping people with autism acclimate? Where's the acclimation of those with post-traumatic stress coming out of the military? So I've been hunting for that kind of stuff. Disappointingly, I'm not finding a lot of it. Yep. I was kind of hopeful that was going to be out here, so I'm going to keep looking.
Yeah. I know Microsoft hires autistic people. Yeah. They have a program there in Redmond, I think.
Yeah, but it's tough. Chris, I'm still kind of walking the floor, but I'm looking at the buzzwords and kind of just sitting back and listening. But I haven't heard that, and I was kind of hopeful that there was going to be a handful that were like, oh yeah, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, it'd be awesome, but maybe next year.
there's so much HR tech now. I mean, I tell people that there's never more HR technology than exists right now.
Yeah.
It's only getting worse.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the average HR person to do about all this stuff? What's your advice to them?
I mean, I think what's interesting is that you can really focus in on service now. So not service now.
No, not the company. We're staring at their sign right now.
Their booth is right here. You can now focus in on the service orientation of the business a lot more. Because a lot of these companies have broadened. You could go work with Kronos. Just sit down with them and then figure it out. You're probably going to be able to have a pretty good platform.
Yep.
And we might argue, well, it's going to cost you a little bit more than this. I think cost in where we're at right now is negligible. The difference.
You have to do it, right?
Yeah, you have to do it anyway.
You got to spend it.
You got to spend it. So I think finding the right platform partner is pretty critical. And then I think even more critical than that is knowing that you're probably going to have 2 or 3 point solutions to wrap into it. And they'll figure out how to API it. They'll figure out how to integrate. If they don't do it this year, they'll do it next year. But I think the choices are, this has got to be daunting for your average VP of HR. So I don't even know where to get started. What I would say is, I used to be able to say things like, well, do they integrate with your payroll? Well, now ADP integrates with everybody.
Yeah.
Paychex integrates with everybody. So it's like, I can't use that as my go-to anymore.
Right. Awesome. Well, appreciate the time, Andrew.
Oh, absolutely. All right, Chris. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right, I'm here with Aman Brar from Canvas at HRtech. This is your second HR Tech. What do you think year 2 here?
Yeah, no, it's been great. I think, the first HR Tech was really soon after we launched, and we were getting our bearings in the ecosystem. And so I think you mentioned earlier, it's just so great to see everybody and feeling really good about all the great relationships we built over the last year with all of our integrations and ecosystem. So I'd say it's twice as fun as last year's, just because we have more context and better sense for the great people that are in the industry.
Yeah. What have you learned about the industry being in the short time frame here since you've launched?
Yeah, I tell my team this, and I say this proudly, is I called it the Humble Parade last year. It's a humbling parade. Because you really...
They give you feedback, right? They give lots of feedback.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, look at all the awesome things that are happening, right? And so you can't stay in your little bubble.
Yeah, there's 500 vendors here or something like that.
Yeah, 500 vendors with solid brands, with great products. And so what I like coming here is that it really pushes your thinking about how do you continue to differentiate? How do you continue to push your offerings and your service and your software to that next level? So I think it's a great time in the industry because so many people do so many great things.
Yeah.
So you just have to be constant. It's great stimulation for the mind as far as how do we just keep keeping our pedal down and keep launching new features at the rapid pace that we've been doing. So I love it. I get very energized by just seeing all the great stuff here.
I was talking to another vendor this week about this kind of texting solution, and the sales guy was telling me that they were pitching with some client, some mid-market company, and they were like, "Why should we use text?" And do you get a lot of that feedback from some clients? How are they getting texting, and what's that been like?
Yeah, I think it's been fun to watch it evolve. 15 months ago, a couple days before we launched,
to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, totally. So before we launched, people thought. I had a lot of people tell me it was crazy. It's it's a wild idea, and the market's evolved a lot in the last year. I think it's really gone from kind of okay, that's interesting, to it's a must-have channel for recruitment. So we're not getting that question often. I think we're getting, for us, and I think some of it's because we've got a solid leadership position in the space. It's a lot about help us understand how to make the most of this. So I think it's more of that dialogue. What does change management look like, right? What can we expect? What's training going to be like? So I think those are some of the things that we're kind of deeply embedded in, because you get the efficacy really quickly, right? The response rate, that starts happening really quickly.
Yep.
People are talking to each other. Is text working? People are saying it is, right? So I think whereas a year ago we were still educating on the why,
right?
And now it's really about the how. Right? How do we get started doing this?
Yeah, the message is finally starting.
Yeah, I think so for sure. Yeah,
deployers out there. You guys do a great job of marketing. Where does that philosophy come from? It's the brand itself. I think stands out to me in terms of the other vendors here.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. So we care a lot about brand and positioning. the simple things can be really meaningful. So when we launched as the world's first text-based interviewing platform, it was the specific combination of those words that got us such a great launch, right? So that's when it wasn't, hey, you can text candidates, right? It was, no, you can actually interview and assess candidates through text messaging. Wall Street Journal's like, that's wild, right? So then we started getting Wall Street Journal, New York Times, and it got picked up like crazy, and that was really our accelerant to our first phase of growth. Yeah. So I'm just a big believer in really specific the power of positioning and messaging, and I think with our brand, I think overly marketing your bot is going to be akin to calling yourself a cloud-based SaaS company, right? Like it should be an expectation, right? So we really wanted to build an enduring brand, a recruiter supportive brand, a brand that people want to embrace, and let the technology speak for itself as part of our solution from what Canvas Bot can do for you, etc. So I think we're really playing the long game with our brand and really excited about it.
You recently came out with a Snapchat feature. Tell us about that quickly.
Really cool. So we were the first HR tech platform invited by Snap to integrate with SnapKit, and that was really exciting for us. So, why I love that is we're constantly pushing, right? We're constantly saying, hey, what I love about Canvas is who else was thinking about that, right? No one was. We were. And really proving that there's a lot of personality, there's a lot of richness to text as a channel. And so we're going to keep doing really interesting things like that. We think about the world really broadly as far as
really humanize.
Yeah, exactly, right. And it puts a smile on your face. So if you had an interview and that recruiter says, "Hey, man, great job for the interview," and sends you a Bitmoji high five, it's hard not to have a positive emotional response. And I think that's the opportunities that we're looking for.
You should also, by the way, here's an idea.
Yeah.
We need a set of recruiting emojis.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Like send me your resume icon.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
All right. Yeah. Very good. All right, awesome. I'm on. Last question. What's next for Canvas? What are you looking forward to in 2019?
Yeah, so I think we're going to continue to accelerate our growth. So I think you're going to see lots of big things from us with our growth story, with our continued robustness of our feature set, lots of really, really fascinating automation that we continue to put into overdrive. So I think for us, right, our whole thing's about what's this combination of recruiter and machine, and we're going to continue to see us do some compelling things in that space.
Cool. Well, good luck, and keep us informed.
Yeah, thanks so much. I appreciate it. That was great.
Hey, I'm here with Brendan Cruikshank from Emissary.ai, and we're at the Startup Pavilion at HR Tech. How's the show going so far?
Conference has been great. A lot of good meetings, good contacts, and a lot of interesting partnerships.
Nice. So tell everybody what Emissary is.
So Emissary is a full-service text platform. We offer everything from one-to-one texting, text campaigns, short codes, and have a couple of unique solutions like text retargeting that focuses on the 90% of candidates who look at a job but never apply. Yep. And it's a solution available for job boards as well as employers.
What types of employer clients are using this right now?
We see a lot of demand from IT positions, healthcare, and then the hourly on-demand folks who tend to be much more mobile-oriented.
Yeah, I like the share by text feature. You've got the typical social media icons on job postings, but research shows they don't get used that much, but I think text will. So any stats around that one?
Well, a lot of employers have provided feedback that employee referrals are probably their top source of hires. So it's a way for employees to share jobs via text with other employees or friends, and can be very effective in that regard.
Okay. Any best practices for employers using text? I mean, what have you learned so far about the product in terms of recruiting and stuff?
The volume of text you send to a candidate you want to limit and not overwhelm their inbox.
What's the best number or average?
Once a day.
Once a day?
The open rate is 98% on text messages right now.
Yep.
And the response rate for email right now is 20% for candidates responding to recruiters even after they apply. So,
and how many reminders can you send them? Or is it one a day for 3 days in a row, or is it more? Or is
it could be customized. We typically will send 5 once a day over the course of 5 days with our retargeting solution, but it can be customized by the client.
Why are employers still not? There's definitely some forward adopters out there using text a lot, but employers seem to be kind of hesitant so far. What do you think that reason is?
I think companies are always slow to move with new solutions, and they sometimes get a little intimidated by the concept of text, especially organizations that have a little bit more of an old school recruiting philosophy. But we're definitely seeing significant increases in adoption.
Yeah, and candidates want it too, right?
There's a lot of statistics that show candidates' preferred method of communication.
All right, well, it's emissary.ai. Thanks for your time, Brendan.
Thank you.
Did you? Yeah. It's my morning wake up call.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Chris. This is Chris Wilson.
This is an interview with Jack Copeman.
You should be playing that on the radio throughout the office.
It's his walking music, like a wrestler, you know.
Well, if you haven't guessed, I'm here at the booth at Great People with my buddy here, Jack Copeman, and just doing my round of HR conversations from HR Tech. So, Jack, what do you think so far? This is not your first HR Tech, is it?
No, I have been coming here probably since, early 2000s when we had Virtual Edge.
Okay.
And so we were in that little 10 by 10 booth on the back, and then fast forward a handful of years and was here with ADP in a big 40 by 40 booth. So now with Great People here and taking up 200 square feet of retail space here on the floor.
Nice. I like the t-shirts. I work with Great People.
Thanks, man. You know, we're getting a lot of mileage out of that Great People, you know, and you know, I don't think we recognize how great of a name GR8 of a name it is when we first started it, but it really transcends everything that we do.
What's been the takeaways? I mean, what are employers asking about?
Well, I think employers. I mean, I'm hearing a lot of things about flexibility, and flexibility meaning they need room to move within their recruitment technology stack. We've had people come up that have an ATS system, whether they are happy with it or not. They are not at a point that they can change. So they're looking for solutions to kind of wrap around their ATS platform. And it may mean big things like CRM, recruiting, marketing. Many times we have clients saying, I'm looking for something to manage events. And so they may only be looking at that as a component to get the partnership between Great People and those organizations started. So I'm hearing a lot about flexibility and needing to be much more creative with what we're doing with the recruiting process.
Is it hard to stand out in a sea of HR technology? I mean, there's 500 vendors here or something like that? You know,
it is. It's always a risk reward. You know, we've been fortunate to have some great partners in the RPO space and also in the client side. We were fortunate enough to have a speaking presentation yesterday with our co-founders, Diane Smith and Jane Kettle, spoke with the team from Talbot's and HireClicks about our engagement and process with that. And we've kind of kicked in our marketing efforts. So you really need some way to distract. The folks across the booth, their strategy is to stand somebody in the middle and interrupt everybody that walks down the hall. I like to think that our activities really been based on kind of our marketing efforts that we've had beforehand and the conversations that we have here. And a lot of people come in and say, hey, I was talking to so-and-so, and they told me I had to come over and see what we're doing. So we've had a lot of that traffic.
What's coming up for Great People? Any new announcements coming up?
Yeah, so we brought in a new product manager, so he's doing a great job in terms of making sure we're taking an inventory of everything that we're doing. We're looking forward to the end of the year. You know, we've architected a very broad platform, very deep platform, so we're looking for some greater definition so that customers can really understand how they could deploy not just the entire platform, but also components of it. I think we'll continue our track record. You know, we're a team of builders, so we'll continue our track record in terms of introducing solutions into the platform. We did that with GDPR recently. We did that with our event-based marketing and management tool. And we'll continue to look at those areas of spend that organizations have that they may be looking at a third-party solution to kind of come in, and then they have to worry about how am I going to integrate that into my CRM or my ATS or my onboarding platform. And we'll look at ways that we can kind of use that platform approach and architect those solutions natively from within the platform.
Is there like a repeating factor in terms of an employer switching ATSs that stands out to you?
Well, I think that, you know, what's interesting, you go back, to early 2000s when we first started in this space. You're starting to hear some of the same complaints. You're starting to hear it's difficult for me to find people that have applied to a job, in my system. It's difficult for me to create a custom report out of the system. My recruiters don't really like to use it, and in fact, it's really difficult to really engage with hiring managers. we heard those things back in the early 2000s, and shame on vendors in the space that we're hearing the same thing today. So ultimately, what we're trying to do now is kind of eliminate those things. So what we've seen is we're seeing a lot of things that were typically part of the ATS platform being moved out and being addressed by CRM tools, recruiting marketing tools, so that now almost like the ATS platform is getting put in a corner that it's about an applicant and a job and a recruiter and a hiring manager, and then it's phone screen, interview, offer letter, and it's managing kind of that operating process, right? The core process there. The frosting, right? The marketing, the pre-need pipelines is being kind of relegated over to companies such as ourselves.
I appreciate the time, Jack. And,
thanks. Great to see you.
Continued success with the.
Ready?
Sure.
Sure, certainly.
All right, I'm here in the expo floor at the Start Pavilion at HR Tech 2018 in Las Vegas. First stop today is at Job AdX. Got Tim Hawk here and Amit Jahan. How's it going, guys?
Good. Thanks for having us, Chris.
Yeah, no problem. So tell us what's new with the platform. I hear your ads on the podcast circuit. So what's new with you guys?
It's just an extension of what we were already doing, and the focus has been that how we can take the dynamic approach, not just like state on the search results page, but also on the email. So that's where we released the new product, or you can say new feature, which is an extension to JobAdX current offering. So now we place our dynamic ads inside the email alerts as well.
Oh, okay.
So one of the things we saw that email alerts drives the majority of traffic in our industry, and the big problem is latency and expired clicks, because like you send email today, candidate open as a couple of days later by the time the job is gone. That's exactly what we are solving by dynamic ads, so that when the candidates open the email, that's when we run an auction in real time and find the jobs that are not expired. So it doesn't matter if a candidate opened the email today or a year later, the job will be fresh, job will be delivered dynamically at that particular time.
That latency problem is still an issue with job boards out there in terms of their backfill and things like that. What do you think is the solution to that problem? I mean, is there a technical fix to get that changed?
See, latency issue is actually, if you look at it, is the technology that we're using, be it XML feed, that how you're getting the job. A lot of time what happens is job boards, sometimes they don't have enough capacity or bandwidth to refresh the feeds as often as they can. So that's like one of the things at JobAdX we develop in our exchange is a very highly efficient inventory management platform, because for us, like if you're running a job ads in real time, we want to be 100% sure the job is still paying, not just us, also to our publisher, right? So that's where like we created like this sophisticated architecture that refreshes every feed that we get from our advertisers multiple times a day, and we can scale it to like almost like as much as we want. So when we ask our advertisers how often do you want us to refresh your feed, we almost do it more than they ask for. Yeah. So that is the same technology that we are using, and what we are doing now is we're coming up with a similar solution for publishers or job board, that they can use our technology as their inventory management platform, and they can like use the same auction style bidding processes that we have built in for JobAdX and support their job board there. With this, it's almost we're breaking down to the same concept that they can make every job search result on their page dynamic. So they can literally like just transform their current site, which is completely based on XML feed, into a more dynamic process where we have our script installed on site, get the request, use JobAdX core technology to find the best matching jobs, show it to them. It's still their jobs, it's still their inventory, it's just powered by JobAdX in essence.
Gotcha, cool. So Tim, you've just joined the company this year. First of all, what's it been like so far?
Whirlwind. We've been super busy from day one, and just couldn't be happier with the both inbound as well as the outbound reception we're getting. It has been terrific from day one.
So what kind of clients are contacting you? Tell me more about your client base. Who's your ideal client? That kind of stuff.
Well, we work with everyone from publishers in relation to what Amit was just touching upon, and providing our native ad unit within their results, all the way through ad agencies, RPO staffing, and clients direct. So those four groups end up really being our verticals at this point.
Awesome. How's the whole CPC trend with payouts, things like that going? Has it improved? Has it kind of been steady for publishers overall?
Oh yeah, it's like for publisher, it has been improving. We're running some tests with a publisher who wanted to compare our results with AdSense results. So in a shortest trend, we saw that we delivered close to 17% higher CTR than AdSense, and that's just like the native nature of our ads, that it looks and feels just like on any other job on your site, and that yields to higher results and higher revenue as well. So the publisher who started with 1 or 2 slots on our site, now they're serving 10 slots in some cases. So that just like that shows us that the relationship that we have built, they are actually growing.
Nice. Okay.
We've actually been able to really cement the recommendations and references that we're getting in relation to that 17%, and are updating our site to host all of those just after the conference. So exciting times.
Yep. And you're going to do the startup pitch today. So what's the? You got a 3-minute? Are you prepped and ready?
3 minutes is going to be tough. I will be very honest. I haven't pitched in 3 minutes ever.
Uh-oh.
Like my elevator pitch is 5 minutes. So, yeah,
I guess to trim that down a bit on that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an exciting time from the standpoint that there are so many organizations that applied that didn't get through. We're really excited. First year to be, it's really an honor. First year to be up there.
Yep,
So.
absolutely.
Cool. Well, appreciate your time, guys, and tell them where to go.
Thank you, Chris. www.jobadx.com.
All right, thanks, guys. Good idea. All right, I'm here with Nin Tran from HRtechConf, of course, one of our sponsors here at RegTech. We're at the HR Tech Show, and Nin, how you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Great to see you, Chris.
Yeah, you got a big smile on your face. You got a nice little round of funding
Thank
today.
you.
So tell me about how that went down and how it all started.
So funding, I think we got published on VentureBeat today.
VentureBeat?
Yep. And it all started with my founder, Steven. He's doing all the fundraising, and we get interest all the time for people and VCs just throwing money at us.
So you finally relented, huh?
Yeah. And we're just very picky. So Northlight Ventures that has invested, they're one of the biggest VCs internationally, and we've been very, very fortunate for them.
Have they ventured into this space before in terms of HR tech?
We are the first and only. So they're huge in AI and machine learning, and we are an AI machine learning company first, and that's our core of our technology. And we saw a really deep strategic partnership with them. So, for example, Andrew and G, they invested in companies like Drive.ai, where Andrew and G is very close to that company, and he is what many of the machine learning engineers will call the father of machine learning.
Okay.
Yeah. He's the guy that did Coursera, and Coursera's first mission statements is to teach data science and machine learning, and offer more circuits, and decrease the skill gap for this. Purple squirrels today, right?
Well, that's great news. It's good to hear
Thank you.
that you
Thank you.
guys have done that. What are the immediate plans for the funding? I mean, what's first on your agenda?
So we actually received the funding January of this year.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, so it's a late announcement. We wanted to wait until HR Tech to announce it, just because we're busy scaling and doing other things than doing PR. But I think what the things that we're doing is we really went from 8 people last year to 30 now, and very fortunate to be able to really attract some of the top talent, especially in ML and AI, with this partnership, because it's really hard to recruit right now. There's more jobs than there's people in the market, right? So we're doing that. We're helping to really hire quality folks who can help us grow and do things right.
Yeah, so heavy on the engineering hiring, I assume?
Engineering, business side as well. And really, like for me, like I'm taking care of the community partnerships and a bunch of stuff. But for me, it's really to hire someone who can continue the work and the partnership with the folks that have been already so supportive of HRtech and really helped us get to where we are today.
Yeah, I keep telling everyone I meet that HRtech has done the best job of community outreach from an HR vendor standpoint to get into the community and get the community to talk about them and be an advocate for them. So kudos to you guys for doing a great job there. What's new with the product? Tell me more about the product lately.
So we update, we innovate, really something new every week.
Every week?
Every week now. And
so you're constantly shipping.
Right. And, if I'm part of the engineering meetings, and I can see the analytics on how the AI and the qualified candidate ratio is changing, and it's increasing and improving week from week.
What are the latest couple of changes that you've made to the product?
The major ones, the latest ones, we're essentially tweaking the AI in the back end and getting more and more data. Okay. We also are fixing and upgrading the candidate follow-ups, so you can not only find people on HRtech, now you can message them and follow up to three or four sequences.
It's like a drip campaign in there.
But so these are kind of like the big things that are most recent, but the bigger things that we have implemented was, for example, you can search for similar companies, you can search for similar majors, you can search for similar schools. You just type in one that you know in your market you want to target and search their competitors as well. Makes it easy. So essentially we try to, we have so much information and knowledge really in our knowledge graph, and try to make things that can draw upon that knowledge graph and make the sources' lives easier, even though they might be entering a new industry or knowledge graph and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, and you fixed the Facebook search too, right? That was broken for a bit, but it came back. Was that an easy fix?
It was.
Or was
it just
up to you were waiting for Facebook to change something?
It was fairly easy. It's just these, you just need engineering time to put in. And for us, it's about prioritizing and depending on the community to really tell us and guide us in the right direction. We have always worked with, the best sources like Dean, like Katie, like Karen, so many of them. Like you go to SourceCon, they're all there.
Yep.
Right. To really tell us, hey, here's the challenge, here's how I do it, and there's like 5 different levels of sourcing, right? And I think we're beginning to scratch the 4th and 5th level. Still far from, beating Dean in sourcing, but
Dean DaCosta, by the way.
You're right. But what people can get is because we built the knowledge and infused so much knowledge into our knowledge graph already from folks like this that really understand what sourcing is about and how to do it really well.
Yep.
When you use it, you might not have all the experience that it would take to get to that level, but you'd get immediate access to part of Katie as you execute the searches.
What's one tip to you for your users to say, okay, here's one way you should be maximizing the use of the product? Is there something that comes to mind?
I think talk to us, right? If it's not there, just tell us what you need. Like someone said, hey, we need diversity search. We added diversity search. We need clearance jobs, searching for clearances. Mm-hmm. We added clearances. We're always about building stuff that makes your life easier. We won't say yes to everything, okay? But if it's a good idea that we can implement,
we'll do it.
And will benefit a lot of people, especially in the sourcing community and recruiting community. And people have really good ideas. So
What's the best user feedback you've gotten, like actually related to turn into a product or feature?
It's a funny thing because the best user feedback is, your product is cool, not useful when we launched 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That really opened our eyes to, we have so much more to go. And even today, we're only scratching the surface of what's possible. So if you use it, people use it, who use it, they're very successful with it. And they make placements and hires and saves in time and all that. But just dream with us, right? And if you have the expertise and the knowledge to help us get to the next level, I'm all ears. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, many ways to reach out. If you want to just chat, just ping Chris and yeah.
All right, well, appreciate your time, Nin, and congrats on the funding. Great job iterating, and keep up the good work.
Another episode of RecTech is in the books. Follow Chris on Twitter at Chris Russell or visit rectechmedia.com, where you can find the audio and links for this show on our blog. RecTech Media helps both HR tech firms and employers to get more clients or candidates through our consulting practice and online tools. So be sure to check out our sites like recruiting headlines, job fairing, and more to stay up to date on what's happening in recruiting. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you soon on the next episode of RecTech, the Recruiting Technology Podcast.